I've always considered myself an experienced cat person. I have 3 cats, and I thought I knew everything about them. But there was one thing that baffled me for years. It's their gaze. That very one, piercing, unblinking, as if seeing right through you. You're just drinking your morning coffee, and you feel that intense beam of attention on you. You turn your head, and yes, she's sitting across from you, staring, not blinking, not looking away. And a thought flashes through your mind. What do you want? Food? To play? Or am I about to die? And it's no coincidence this gaze hooks us so much. It's truly full of mystery. As an old quote I love goes, if a cat stares at you intently without blinking, expect the unexpected. And I tested this on myself. Once, my cat Bucks stared at me like that for almost a minute, and 5 minutes later, I spilled my entire coffee all over myself. Coincidence? I think not.
But what does this gaze actually mean? Is it a sign of love, hatred, or are they just hypnotizing us, their servants? That's the main mystery, and today we're going to solve it. And you know what's most interesting? This gaze is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind it lies a whole secret language that we humans almost never notice. And right now we've arrived at the most important part, at deciphering this code. What does it mean if a cat blinks slowly or stares without breaking eye contact? And why does this behavior have its roots deep in the past with their wild ancestors? All of this is coming up next. Don't switch off. It gets even more interesting. By the way, does your cat look at you like that? Write in the comments. I'll definitely read them.
So, that's the answer. This hypnotizing gaze isn't just a quirk of character. It's an ancient survival tool honed by millions of years of evolution. Right now, looking at your well-fed domestic Barsic, you're seeing a born predator. Imagine not a jungle thicket, but the dark undergrowth of your living room. For a cat, it's the same thing. She is a hunter. Her prey is that very fly on the wall, or a ball. And the hunter's main rule is not to scare the prey. Any movement, any blink is a risk. That's precisely why the cat learned to stare without blinking, turning into a living scanner that reads the slightest movements around it. But how do their eyes not dry out? This is where nature's genius invention comes in, the third eyelid. It's a semi-transparent nictitating membrane. And here's a little-known fact. Thanks to it, a cat can instantly, in a fraction of a second, moisten the eye's surface without even doing a full blink. Imagine, the eye remains open, moist, and ready for an instant reaction to a threat or an opportunity. That's a superpower.
I once watched my cat at the dacha. He was lying in ambush by a mouse hole, completely motionless. And his gaze, it wasn't the gaze of my domestic pet. It was the gaze of a leopard from those very dark thickets, a predator who knows that one wrong move means dinner is gone. He didn't blink once during those entire 3 minutes, and then a lightning-fast pounce. Luckily, the mouse got away that time, but I learned my lesson forever. And here's what's astounding. Your cat who purrs on your lap instinctively uses against you the very same skill his ancestors used for hunting. When he stares intently at you, he's activating prey-stalking mode, even if that prey is the bag of food in your hand. But that's only one side of the coin, because that very same gaze is also a question of trust, and that's a completely different, unexpected story. After all, if an intense stare is the heritage of a wild hunter, then how do we explain the slow, calm blink? Those very cat kisses? It's its complete opposite. And it's this paradox that will reveal what a cat truly feels for us. So we figured out that this gaze is a heritage of the wild hunter. But how is this perfect optical instrument built? What allows a cat to be such a master of staring contests? Welcome to the secret laboratory, the anatomy of the feline eye. This isn't just an eye, it's a masterpiece of nature's engineering. You've probably noticed that cats very rarely fully close their eyelids. They seem to always be on alert, and it's not without reason. Their eyes are protected from literally everything. There's even an interpretation. A cat's eyes are protected from nature from everything, even from the accidental movement of their own eyelashes. And that's almost true. The main secret is that very nictitating membrane or third eyelid we talked about. It works like an invisible windshield wiper and a hydration system in one, without disrupting focus on the target for even a moment.
And that's precisely why all the jokes about staring contests with a cat are pure truth. Winning is impossible. They are masters of motionless duels. I run into this regularly myself. My cat Martha is the world champion in this sport. You sit there, trying not to blink, your eyes are watering, and she just looks at you with her jade gaze. And it seems like she's even stopped breathing. She's just waiting for you to break. And you always break. And here's another phenomenon, the magic of night vision. Why do their eyes glow in the dark? Behind the retina is a special layer, the tapetum lucidum. It works like a mirror, reflecting light back through the retina, giving the photoreceptors a second chance to catch it. Imagine having a built-in light amplifier in your eye. It's as if we see the world in dim light while they see it in bright daylight. But what's truly fascinating is that all this perfect anatomy is just a tool. How does the cat use it? The same intense stare can mean a mortal threat and complete trust. How can the same action, the same gaze, carry such opposite messages?
It's all about context and the subtle details that we humans often miss. Right now, we're approaching the most important part, the social signals. What does it mean if a cat looks at you and blinks slowly? What if its pupils become huge? Is it dominance, a threat, or love? The answer will change your relationship with your pet forever. So we've arrived at the most crucial question. What exactly is your cat trying to tell you with this gaze? The same unblinking stare in the world of cats can be both a declaration of war and a confession of love. It's all in the details. In their world, among their own kind, an intense stare without blinking is a pure challenge. It's a symbol of a threatening social signal, an expression of superiority and dominance. It's a way of saying, I'm in charge here, and I'm watching you. This triggers instincts. That's why unfamiliar cats often first stare at each other for a long time, tense. It's a duel at a distance, a test of strength.
Remember, has anyone ever come to visit whom your cat clearly didn't trust? What did she do? Right, she sat at a distance and stared intently. A vivid illustration. Imagine an old grandmother watching a cat warily, and the cat, in turn, stares intently, unblinking at the new guest, assessing the level of threat. This is the purest manifestation of control and anxiety. But here's the paradox. The very same mechanism, the refusal to blink, in a different context, becomes the highest manifestation of trust. A little-known fact. Domestic cats rarely stare at their owners for a long time without blinking unless they are feeling anxious at that moment. And if their gaze softens and their blinking becomes slow, almost lazy, that's no longer a challenge. This is a cat kiss. It's a sign of the deepest calm and acceptance. They blink so slowly because they feel completely safe. They don't expect to stab in the back from you. I've tested this on all my cats. When I slowly blink at them, they almost always respond in kind. It's our secret language, our way of saying, I love you, and I mean you no threat. It's magic.
But here lies the most important question for us humans. If a slow blink means I love you, and an intense stare means I'm testing you or I'm the boss here, then what message are we actually waiting for from them? And how should we react correctly so as not to offend or frighten them? All of this is the topic of our final block, where we'll break down our communication with cats. Love, curiosity, or a test? The answer will surprise you. And for now, write in the comments, does your cat more often blink slowly at you or stare intently without blinking? I'm really very interested to hear your stories. And so we come to the eternal main question. What does your cat actually want to say when it pierces you with its gaze? Is it love, curiosity, or is it just checking if you've lost your mind?
The truth is, it's all of the above. Your cat is a genuine social engineer. She watches your actions closely, showing burning curiosity. She learns your daily routine, remembers which hand you hold treats in, and carefully observes how you react to her actions. She's literally compiling a dossier on you. And she seeks attention in exactly the way that works on you. Now let's debunk a popular myth. It's often said that cats can recognize our emotional state just by looking at us. Sadness, joy, fear. Well, science hasn't yet proven that they understand the emotions themselves. But what they read perfectly is our behavior. Your movements, tone of voice, posture. For them, this is an open book. They don't understand that you're sad, but they perfectly see that you're moving slower and not playing with them. And their intense stare at such a moment is more likely a question. Hey, owner, is something wrong? You're usually scratching behind my ear by now.
But there is one signal that is crystal clear and unambiguous. Remember our quote? Cats consider a slow blink a kiss, a generous gesture of goodwill. This is the pure truth. It's their way of sending you a message across centuries of domestication. It's their I love you. I've tested this countless times. My most shy cat, Frosia, confessed to me in exactly this way. She didn't like sitting on laps, but as soon as I sat next to her and slowly blinked at her, she immediately responded in kind and started purring. It was our relationship breakthrough. And this is perhaps the most important language we can learn from them, because once you understand it, you'll start noticing absolutely everything, and any change in this behavior will immediately catch your eye. After all, the eyes are not only the mirror of the soul, but also a mask of health. What if your cat, who always answered you with kisses, stops doing it, or her gaze becomes somehow absent? This could be the first barely noticeable warning sign. What are their eyes silent about? Neurological problems? Age-related changes?
And so we come to the most serious part of our investigation, because sometimes the mysterious gaze isn't about love or hunting. Sometimes it's a mask behind which pain or age-related issues may be hiding. All this time we've been talking about psychology and behavior, but what if the cause is medical? There are conditions every owner should know about. For example, feline hyperesthesia syndrome. In this condition, the skin on a cat's back becomes hypersensitive, and her own gaze, directed at her tail or side, can trigger an attack of almost painful concentration and aggression. The cat freezes, stares intently at itself as if seeing an enemy, and then suddenly attacks its own body. This isn't magic, it's neurology. And that's not the scariest part. As cats age, like people, they can experience cognitive dysfunction. Simply put, senile dementia. And here's a little-known fact that veterinarians strongly recommend paying attention to: prolonged, otherworldly freezes. Your pet can literally dissolve into space, stare at a wall, into emptiness for a long time and meaninglessly, and not respond to your call. It's not seeing ghosts, it's getting lost.
I went through this with my old cat, Monya. He could sit on the sofa and stare at one spot on the wallpaper for half an hour. His gaze was completely empty, absent, and it was scary.
He was no longer that curious hunter, but a lost old man. The vet then explained to me that such shutdowns are a direct reason for a clinic visit. But it's precisely this behavior, staring into nothingness, into emptiness, that, since ancient times, has given rise to the creepiest and most mystical explanations. After all, if you don't know about dementia or neurology, what else could come to mind? That they see what is inaccessible to us. And this is the perfect bridge to our final block, because there we'll deal with the most piquant part, mysticism, omens, and rumors. Do cats see the otherworldly? And where did these beliefs come from? The answer will shock you.
And so we've approached the most mysterious, most speculative part of our investigation, what people have believed for centuries, mysticism, omens, and rumors. Because if a cat stares into emptiness, ancient human logic immediately suggested it sees something you don't. It sees ghosts. A belief has long been firmly rooted among people that a cat can see more than a human, that its gaze can penetrate beyond the veil of our world. And from this stem countless omens. For example, that a cat can cast an evil eye if it stares intently at a sleeping baby, or that its long stare at one point is a bad omen for the house. And you know, there's a certain, albeit naive, logic to it. I found myself in such a situation once. My cat suddenly froze and started staring, as if mesmerized, into the corner of an empty room. His gaze was so intense, so focused, and chills ran down my spine. My wife and I immediately looked at each other and almost in unison exclaimed, "There's a ghost in the house." This lasted exactly until an unnoticed fly flew out from there. That was the ghost that haunted our house.
But why are these myths so tenacious? Because they provide a simple explanation for complex and sometimes frightening behavior. It's much easier to believe in the otherworldly than in hyperesthesia syndrome or age-related dementia, which we discussed earlier. Mysticism is a defense mechanism of our psyche against the unexplained. And it's right here that the main question is born. Now that we've figured out where the myth is and where the reality is, how should we properly communicate with our pets? How to react to their gaze, to both understand them and not drive ourselves crazy? It all comes down to practical advice, and this is the topic of our final block, where there will be neither mysticism nor speculation, only verified facts and working instructions. How to behave with a cat when it's looking at you. You're about to find out.
So we've come a long way from ancient instincts to mystical secrets. But let's come down from the heavens to earth. What should you do right now when your cat is staring at you with its piercing gaze? How to react correctly to both understand it and not scare it? The main rule you must remember is never engage in the staring contest with a cat. For her, it's not a game. It's a direct challenge, an act of dominance and aggression that can cause severe stress or even provoke an attack. You don't want your beloved pet to see you as a threat, do you? Here's a practical tip that works unfailingly. Instead of staring back, do the simplest and most brilliant action: blink at her slowly and with love. Close your eyes for a second or two and open them softly. This is a universal white flag, a language of trust that cats understand perfectly.
I test this on my Barsic every day. Imagine this scene. I notice his intense stare. I don't look away, but just softly and slowly wink at him. He freezes for a second and then does the same in return. His gaze immediately softens. He comes over and starts rubbing softly against my hand. It's magic that always works. It's our secret language of love. If the cat's gaze seems alarming to you, or you just want to shift the interaction to a different track, simply distract its attention. Say its name affectionately, wiggle your fingers, offer a toy. Let it know that you are a source of positivity, not stress. And you know, that is the main conclusion of our big investigation. Your cat's gaze is not magic or a threat. It's an invitation to a dialogue. It's the key to its world, which you can now use. You've become a real expert in the feline language of gazes. You know where it comes from, what it means, and how to react correctly. If this video helped to understand your pet better, please give it a like. It will really help our channel. Write in the comments, will you try the slow blinking technique tonight? And of course, subscribe to the channel Cat Chronicles, because we will continue to unravel the most amazing mysteries of our pets.